the participation by minority ethnic communities in the media, but also to look closely at the links between higher education, the training of journalists, and recruitment, promotion, and so on, so that we can look at very concrete ways in which we can actually change policy in order to increase the number of ethnic minorities who are actually working within the profession of journalism. So welcome everybody today. I just wanted to say a bit about how we came to decide to plan a seminar series of this nature. David Baines and I, David's going to talk briefly after I've finished, and Ian Blackhall, who couldn't make it today, from Sunderland University. The three of us were struck by the lack of ethnic minority students on established journalism courses here in the North East. First of all at Sunderland University, but also here at Newcastle University and Northumbria University as well. And this reflects the dilemma across the nation. And we were struck by, as well, the low retention rates of minority ethnic students that do apply and get onto degree programs in journalism. So there's a whole set of issues there about social exclusion in the sphere of training, and this is very evident in a Russell Group university like Newcastle, which also sort of makes noises about, you know, making contributions to the local community as a civic university. So we have a lot of work to do within our context here too. Now, when it comes to the media industries themselves, what we're talking about here is low recruitment, low retention, and a lack of promotion of Black and Asian journalists. And this characterises the media industries. It's been confirmed through research by academics, by government agencies, and by the media industries themselves. Research by the Journalism Training Forum of 2002, and also the Society of Editors in 2004, echoes what has also been found by the Commission for Racial Equality in 2005, and by various academic studies. So what did they find? Well, the Commission for Racial Equality found that the number of professional employees from ethnic minorities is so tiny that it isn't even detectable on the radar. It fails to register within the data at all. This is the CRE 2005. Over a decade ago, in 1998, Ainley found that out of 3,000 national newspapers, out of 3,000 national newspaper journalists, only between 12 and 20 were Black, and out of 8,000 provincial newspaper journalists, 15 were Black. In 2004, the Society of Editors reported that there were 28 Black and Asian journalists out of 644 people employed on 10 papers in cities and towns outside London, and these were urban centres where there were large minority ethnic populations. In another Commission for Racial Equality in 2005, a study of ethnic minorities' views of careers in print media, they found that 25% of the sample regarded the profession as unrepresentative of Britain's diverse society, and had detected, you know, through their experiences and stuff, racism of some sort or another. So, you know, the findings of these studies suggest, and you know, some of them are a bit out of date now, but they suggest that there's a lack of encouragement from somewhere, from schools, from family, and also from further education. And all of this put together acts as a kind of barrier. They argue as well that, and this is the research by the Commission for Racial Equality, that greater equality of opportunity and more inclusive work cultures are absolutely crucial for supporting and encouraging minority groups to consider journalism and careers in the media. Research by the Sutton Trust in 2006 found that there are particular routines in recruiting staff that can be quite unfavourable. They said that editors have a habit of not advertising for editorial staff, and the interview process is typically quite informal, and that informality is very disadvantageous for Black and Asian journalists applying for jobs. Among whites, of course, journalism is highly competitive, We know this as well from our perspective on degree programs in journalism. There are just huge waves of students coming in year after year to do degrees in journalism. So among whites, highly competitive. Vacancies tend to be filled by those with experience in national newspapers who are actually known to the editors already, implying a kind of bias towards those from privileged backgrounds at the point of entry. And of course we know that these kinds of practices are not peculiar to the media industry. The point here, however, is that the media industry represents the public sphere, a particular sphere in which the dissemination of knowledge takes place, dissemination of information, and the sphere in which public opinion formation takes place. So, for us, we feel that it's very important for us to debate these issues today. A key issue to be addressed then is how ethnic minorities are also represented in the media and what impact it has. And David's going to talk a bit about this in terms of experience on the ground. How being represented in the media as a minority ethnic group is very much linked to the number of people who are working within the industry. So there is an issue here as well about critical mass. Elizabeth Poole from Staffordshire University, who hasn't arrived yet, who's coming at lunchtime, she's going to be summarising her research on Muslim communities, and this seems appropriate given the Islamophobia that has been generated after the 9/11 events. So her research is about the way in which Muslims are being represented in the media today. Now the aim of this whole series, just to summarise, is to find ways to increase the participation of black and ethnic minority communities in the mainstream media. The intention then is to raise the profile of black and ethnic minority individuals and communities in British civil society. So towards this aim, what we want to do is to document and analyse the underlying causes and consequences of lack of ethnic diversity in the mainstream media, and to facilitate the exchange of information between academics, employers, unions, media professionals, journalism educators, and black and ethnic minority representatives. Now this involves assessing the media industry strategies that have taken place in the past. And those strategies are ones that we need to assess that have tried to address under-recruitment of ethnic minorities. And what we also need to do is to look at a kind of analysis of the effectiveness of these industry-led strategies in order to then move on to find ways to attract ethnic minority journalists to mainstream newsrooms today. So what it entails for us then is to look closely at the career expectations, aspirations, and the experiences of black and ethnic minority journalists from mainstream and minority ethnic media. So that's what we're hoping to look at today. But there are major related issues here about the changing nature of the public sphere and the changing nature of new media technologies in the industry. I mean, we're actually operating at this juncture in a state of crisis. We know that the shift to new media technologies has led to all sorts of serious problems about media convergence and the shift to the internet as a key medium of interaction. Our students here at Newcastle University who are doing degrees in journalism have made it clear, and it's not just those students from other degree programs as well, that their first port of call in terms of gaining information from the news tends to come from the internet. They tend not to read newspapers any longer. So we know that there is a kind of crisis that's being dealt with. And it seems, and this is a point that David wants to make as well, is that this is the very moment we should be looking at the impact of these kinds of issues in terms of representation of black and Asian and ethnic minority journalists. Another issue of great importance is the way in which the new technology is operating in terms of the formation of the public sphere. We're talking about blogging, Twittering, and so on as key kind of factors within the political process. And we've seen how very successful that can be in relation to Obama's election. And we know that within the political sphere in Britain, the next election is going to be fought within public culture, so that blogging, internet, Twittering and so on are going to become crucial tools of information. But it doesn't just mean that we're now in the era of community journalism or civic journalism. This is still an area where professional journalism operates and shapes and influences the political as well as popular cultural sphere. So we feel that to look at this juncture at this particular issue about ethnic minority communities in relation to the media is absolutely crucial. So I'll pass on to David, who will talk a bit more about some of those themes. Thanks.